Evening all, welcome to some Kicking Dust. So what we're going to do today is carry on our kind of tanking thing. Obviously one of the key things of FW is this friendly fire piece, and as you can see, some people are being really clever bellends by actually trying to shoot you as your tank comes in. Yeah, very nice. It's a good tactic. I think very quickly you're going to become known as a complete shitlord. Post in the comments if anybody has done this to you, and I'm quite happily to hunt them down and destroy their reputation on my channel for you, so please let me know. Anyway, what we're doing today is, as I say, looking at tanks a bit more. I really am loving tanks. I think people are saying they're OP, some people are saying they're crap, some people are saying they're weak, some people are saying they're you know, crap, rubbish, good, bad, whatever. So to me that kind of shows maybe they're right, because what happens is usually something comes into the game or something's changed and then everybody says, oh my god, that's OP. So literally before 1.7 Scrambler Rifle was being branded as OP just because people were good with it and aim assist, lol. So people were just becoming okay and getting good kind of track records kills with them. Tanks, I honestly don't think are OP because I mean, again, you know, I think this is only from my point of view. Tanks feel very arcadey, and in a good way, and tanks feel very fun. So you pick up a tank, you use it, you lose it, you're like, oh well, it's like I've lost a drop suit. You don't whine and moan when you lose a drop suit, do you? Well, obviously you do, but you know what I mean. In the same way, people are less kind of bothered if a tank is deaded by a railgun like this. Ooh, crap. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Pro skills, 54 hull. I used to fly in my Eve ships like this. I'd leave the ship like forever. I think my Titan for a long time had like 20% hull. Because why not? Anyway, so I think a lot of people are obviously saying tanks are, you know, a mixture, a plethora of things. And at the moment, I think my personal opinion is tanks are good. I like them. They're not OP. I'm losing, you know, pretty much... I'm losing them if people come at me properly. So, you know, if somebody comes at me with a forge gun, if somebody literally comes after me with, you know, a prototype swarm launcher, I'm losing my tank. And that's right, that's the way it should be. If somebody's doing a half-assed attempt to kill a complex gun-logied tank with a militia swarm launcher, then sits there and cries on the forums about the fact that they couldn't kill this tank on their own, then get stuffed, because it doesn't work that way. I mean, personally, I just don't think they are that bad. I think they've made it so simple now that, you know, you have 3 choices of each module pretty much, and, you know, it's up to you. It's obvious how you fit it as well. You know, you're gonna run an extender and a hardener and a booster on a tank on a gun logic. It just makes sense. You know, it would be stupid not to. So to me, I honestly don't feel that there's actually too much of a problem. You know, tanking should be simple. They should be strong and tough as well. Because remember, you're calling it in an FW. That means you could potentially be losing 500,000 each time you call that tank in, or you know, 300,000 rather. And you know, you're risking quite a lot of ISK. So, you know, where is this any different to calling in a really decently fit prototype suit? You're going to rip up stuff just as you would in that suit as you would in a tank. So, to me, no, I don't think it's that. I think, you know, quite frankly, I love the fact that railgun tanks are tank hunters now. Because, I mean, I'm watching this in battles as I play, that all of a sudden the tanks stop focusing on troops like I am here. I've got luxury, I have privilege of focus right now because the enemy don't have any tanks in. However, they're about to call tanks in. And that's the beauty of this game, is that all of a sudden it stops becoming a, I don't know, a kind of one-dimensional shooter with just infantry versus infantry and whatever. And it becomes a two-dimensional, nay, three-dimensional battle, because all of a sudden, and you may have noticed this particularly in the last video, nobody gave a rat's ass what the infantry were doing because we were too busy trying to fight the other tanks. And that's exactly how it should be. No arguments. That is exactly how this game should be. It is forcing the enemy team, if they want to win, to bring in tanks. I like that. I think everybody should have a tank fit of some kind, even if it's a Seeker with a railgun. That's all you need. And that Seeker with a railgun will kill any tank if you're a good shot and if you're lucky. And I honestly do think that that is the way the game is going now. Do you remember the days of the unkillable prototype tanks? Do you remember those days? Do you remember how elitist certain people would get with tanks? It's just not worth it anymore. I think tanks should be highly accessible like they are in Battlefield, like they are in every other game. And, you know, calling one in is an investment, so therefore you should have some power. But I hate this fact that people think because a side calls in, say, 3 or 4 tanks, that tanks are OP. No, those ones are OP because there's 4 of them and you have none and you're not trying to kill them. That's not OP, that's just your dumbness. Okay, so really think about when before saying things are OP. I honestly do not think tanks are OP. I know this because I'm using them, and I tell you what, they're bloody not. I feel vulnerable, and I'm able to be killed very easily. We, in our last match, in the last video actually, before, well, long story, the last kicking dust, let's say, we got stomped. We stomped and we got stomped. So even, you know, even the best tanks we could field, and I think between us we lost 4. Because that's the game, and I think none of us were bothered with it. We actually were quite happy with it, because for once we were getting proper tank versus tank combat, and it was exhilarating. It really was. So while the infantry were running around shooting and doing their thing, we were actually doing our thing, and it was amazing. So there we go. I think, to be honest, I don't honestly want anything to change here. And people are actually, I think, quite gobsmacked that I think this patch is flawless. It's been deployed perfectly. It works perfectly in my mind. Other than bloody Scotty, I'm not going to let them get away with that. But that's just one of these things. You can't have so much change without something slipping a little bit, something not being quite right. And I think the Scotty thing isn't as bad as perhaps if you remember I think it was 1.6 perhaps. Sorry, 1.4 maybe. That when you would when you tried to join a battle, you would get Scotty, but then it would bug the gang, so you had to reform the gang. Very annoying. This time around you don't have that issue. You do have to just keep clicking until an FW match comes up, and to be honest, that doesn't bother me too much. That's just the way it is. Okay, I honestly do think this is one of the best patches CCP have ever done. Dust feels more complete now. Before, Dust felt a little bit two-dimensional, as in it wasn't very deep. So you could get into the game, you would shoot stuff, but it didn't have a great deal of depth. So let me give you an example. Skyrim and Minecraft, yeah, particularly Terraria. These are all games that on first instance maybe appear slightly simple, straightforward, but they have an immense depth. So there's lots there to do. There's many different things to kind of entertain yourself with. And Dust, I think, also was slightly sort of, you know, looking a bit kind of two-dimensional. But now with FW, now with more kind of things coming in, different guns, different easier access to vehicles, so people don't feel, you know, intimidated by vehicles anymore. They don't feel as if it's a door that's shut on them and they'd have to invest lots of skill points into it. They don't feel that anymore. And I think just because things like the friendly fire is on as well, mean this game has become a much more deeper, enriched game. Okay, and no, I'm not being paid by CCP. Stop telling me that. Honestly, seriously, I just really like this patch. I think, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's the same, but to me, I don't know. I don't feel that it's a bad. I don't think there's anything too bad in here at all. I even think scouts are actually doing okay again. I mean, this may be just because I had some very lucky games, but I'm running my scout suit and rail rifle lately, and with mouse and keyboard, so I'm right back to square one, and I was doing pretty well. I actually, you know, thought, you know, I was quite enjoying it. Yes, you still get the odd person who up close with a get will wipe you out with auto-assisted aiming as they jump around. So not entirely perfect, but, you know, to be honest, you just accept that now. You just accept that some people will be using aim assist and they will just do the old jumping, strafing, shuffle move. And when they see you, and, you know, as you're trying to kind of track them with the gun, they will literally just almost kind of wave the gun in your general direction and kill you 20 times over. So, you know, don't be disheartened by that. I don't think scouts are completely fixed, but I would say they're still very usable. I get a lot of enjoyment from running the scout suit over the prototype assault suit now, so go figure. So there we go, victory, a clear victory, because obviously we had tanks, they didn't. And again, I hate to say it, but it does come down to that. You can't expect to win rock paper scissors if you never use scissors. Do you know what I mean? If you never call in scissors, you'll never win, because people will say, well, you don't have scissors, so I'm going to go tang 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 tang, bang, you're dead. So just be aware of that. And again, to be honest, there is nothing wrong with sniping from your. I'm not going to say red line, because that is a dick move, but there is nothing wrong with you sniping from afar and doing some damage, you know, because at the end of the day, that's what they're there for. Lovely loot. As you can see, I've got a nice Aurum swarm launcher there. That's pretty cool. Otherwise, you know, I'm loving the fact that I'm kind of, you know, salvaging stuff. I'm looting stuff. I'm absolutely enjoying that. And yeah, as you can see, you know, just 30-0, not a bad score at all. So It's a funny thing. I honestly think that this is one of the finest additions to Dust. And I think it just shows you the direction that they're pushing this game now. And I just really want people to, to kind of, I think just open their eyes and lower their defenses a bit, because it's not like it was before. But you have to embrace change. CCP change their games all the time, and you have to adapt and move and evolve. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. I think the game is coming along nicely, and we'll see how it develops. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.